Here we have my 49cc mini moto, and since I've changed the oil, the fuel line, my mini motor has been accelerating on its own or just cutting out, and I've checked all the screws, everything, and it's not doing anything. So I've thought about taking off the carb and cleaning it all out. So the first thing I done was took off this because it was in the way of the air filter. Once I took off that, I took off the air filter. Once I took off the air filter, I couldn't take off this piece here, so I had to take off the wheel. So the first thing I done was loosened up the chain tighteners, took off the chain, took out the axle, and then there was the brakes holding it there, so I couldn't take out the wheel. So there was this bolt here screwed onto, where was it screwed onto? This bolt here screwed onto here, so I took it off, moved it a bit, and then took out the wheel, and then that came off. And then once that came off, the wheel came off, and now I wanted the carb. So I've already taken off the air filter and everything, and you can probably see that it's already dirty. That should be dirt. Let me just see. Yep, that's dirt, and that's already one sign of why my mini motor kept on cutting out. So the next thing I'm going to do is take off these two bolts and take out the carb. Once I've done that, I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've taken out the two screws, and as you can tell, my carburetor has already come off. The gasket is still connected to my carburetor. I'm going to try and take that off once the whole carb's out. But then the next thing we'll do is take out the fuel line. I don't have a tap to close it or open it, so I've leaned my motorbike to one side. That way the petrol is away from where it comes through. And then I'm going to just get a cup. This cup here, I'm going to just take out all the screws. And then I'm going to take it off. One sec. Don't lose any of the screws. And then I'm going to take out the fuel line with this underneath it and let all the petrol just drain out. So once I've done that, I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've put my carburetor to the side, like that, above the bottle. Pulled out the fuel line. All the petrol from the filter came out and went inside the cup. Give it a bit of a shake. Make sure there's no more petrol, and then you can move that out of the way. As you can see, that there's petrol in there. It's quite clear. Bit of dirt, but I think the dirt's from the cup. Okay, and then you have your carburetor. If you want, you can go ahead and put a tissue underneath that fuel line, just in case a bit more petrol drips. Just got a tissue. Just put that under there, just to make sure. And then you can go get your carburetor. Try and get it from wherever you want there. I'll bring it out from here. And then you want to bring out your accelerator cable. Nearly fell. Okay. Once all you want to do is you want this screw here. You want to unscrew it and take it off. Just be careful. I've never done this before, so it's my first time. So I just want to try and make sure nothing pops out. So once I've done that, I'll come back to you. Okay, I've taken my carburetor off, taken everything out, taken the accelerator cable off it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start taking it apart and I'm going to start cleaning it all out. When it's in bits, I'll come back to you. Okay, so once you've dismantled all your carburetor into bits, what I've done is I've gotten the piece and I've just put it in a glass of water. Just keep dipping it in and out. This is only half of it, the other half I've done as well. But you just keep dipping it in and out of the petrol. You might be able to see that inside the petrol there's all these little black things, little bits of plastic. Well, that's obviously dirt which has been blocking it all. So you just want to let it sit in there for a couple of minutes. And once you've done that with all the other bits as well, you can go ahead and put it all back together. Once you've got your carb all back together, just double check your work, make sure it's all nice and tidy, make sure there's no air. I lost one of my seals from inside here, and it loses a bit of air, but if it starts leaking petrol, I'll just silicone it up so it doesn't leak anymore. And then what you want to do is you want to get your accelerator cable and put it back inside. I'll come back to you once I've done that. Okay, I've got the accelerator cable on there and the fuel line, but I'm going to have to take it all off because, as I said, I lost one of the seals for the petrol, and when you turn on the petrol, air goes in and then petrol just goes everywhere. So I'm going to have to silicone it up, that way it doesn't leak anymore. So once I've got silicone around it, I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've put silicone around it. Don't know if you can see the white in between there, and then going round, and you might see a bit of a lump on the, there we are. You can see the little white bits, sort of bits on the screw as well. Yeah, I've put silicone around it. Now I have to wait 24 hours for it to dry and set, and then tomorrow I'll come back to it and mount it all on. Okay, so I'm about to mount it all on. As you can see, I've got my casket with my screws. My screw just fell out, hold on. With the screws, and I'm just about to put it all back on. So my silicone still hasn't dried properly yet, so I'm just going to mount it all on, and I'll turn on the petrol tomorrow when it's dried. I'm not going to turn it on now, even though it's half dried. I just want to make sure, just in case I ruin it and have to start again. So I'm going to put all of the screws in and then mount it on. Once I've mounted it all on, I'll come back to you. Okay, I've mounted it all on. I've mounted it all back on. Petrol I'm not going to turn on till tomorrow, in case I ruin silicone. Let's try it up tomorrow. So hopefully it works and doesn't bog out or cut out or anything. Okay, I fitted on the new carb and the wheel. I did test it without the wheel on before, and it was working fine. And then I went ahead and put the wheel back on, and it is running perfectly. I'll just show you in a second. But there's one thing that happened, was my carb was leaking. I opened it and there was bits of silicone inside it because of the silicone sealing I've done around the side. Obviously the petrol washed through it and it's washed off a little bit. So try and be careful, and every now and then just keep checking on it. So I'm just going to show you it starts up quickly. Just going to turn it round so the smoke goes outside. And as you can see, it starts up perfectly, runs smoothly, and it works. I'm going to double check the carb as well. I've taken off my base from it, and I don't know if you can see a bit inside. Inside there's little bits of white silicone. Don't know if you can see it, but there are still some bits in there. So I'm just going to open my petrol and let it come through on its own, not into the float, but just let it go into a pot somewhere, just to clean it a little bit, and then that's it really. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment.